लाडली लाल की अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। बरहापीडं नटवरवपु कर्णयो कर्णिकारं बिभ्रद्वासः कनककपिशं वैजयन्तीं च माला रन्ध्रान्वेनो रथरसुधया पूरयन् गोपवृन्दै वृन्दारण्यं स्वपदरमणं प्राविशद्गीतकीर्ति। नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तद्ग्वंहदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। बोल राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। भक्ति शतक दोहा नंबर 15। जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे। जय
राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे।
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे।
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे 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 कृष्ण राधे।
साचो दास न कबहू चाह पाचहु मुक्ति बलाय राधे राधे।
साचो दास न कबहू चाह पाचहु मुक्ति बलाय राधे राधे।
पांचों दास न कबहू चाह, पांचहु मुक्ति बलाए राधे राधे।
साचो दास न कबहू चाह, पांचहु मुक्ति बलाय राधे राधे।
चाहि युगल सेवा सदा, दिन सुख सुखी सदाय राधे राधे।
चाहि युगल सेवा सदा, तीन सुख सुखी सदाय राधे राधे।
चाहि युगल सेवा सदा, दिन सुख सुखी सदाय राधे राधे।
चाहि युगल सेवा सदा, तीन सुख सुखी सदाय राधे राधे।
जय राधे कृष्ण राधे राधे, राधे कृष्ण 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 राधे।
बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। जगत गुरुतम श्री कृपालु महाप्रभु जो पांचवी मूल जगत गुरु थे, उन्होंने कई ग्रंथ लिखा। प्रेम रस मदिरा, प्रेम रस सिद्धांत, ब्रज रस माधुरी, राधा गोविंद गीत, श्यामा श्याम गीत इत्यादि। उनमें से एक बहुत प्रसिद्ध ग्रंथ है भक्ति शतक। उस भक्ति शतक में 100 दोहे हैं। उस 100 दोहे में शास्त्र, जितने शास्त्र है, वेद, पुराण इत्यादि सारे सिद्धांत उसमें भर दिया। जगत गुरुतम श्री कृपालु महाप्रभु, whom we all know is the 5th original, original Jagat Guru. Before him, there were only four. First, Adi Jagat Guru Shankaracharya, then Jagat Guru Ramanujacharya, then Jagat Guru Nimbarkacharya, then Jagat Guru Madhavacharya. So four only. Then after a period of about 700 years, the title of only the fifth, original. There are a lot of people with the title of Jagat Guru in India. A lot of people. How does one get the title of Jagat Guru? When someone goes before a body of the greatest spiritual minds, scholars in India, and there is something called Shastrarth, debate on the scripture, Shastrarth, between that person and that group of scholars, that body of scholars. And it is found that his knowledge is greater than all of them combined. They bestow the title Jagat Guru, Mool Jagat Guru, original. So these are only four individuals. When they left the world, someone belonging to that congregation, one of the followers, just went and sat on the seat, on the throne, and called himself Jagat Guru. This title wasn't bestowed upon him. So there are thousands like this. Original, only four. Then in the year 1957, the 14th of January 14th, 1957, in what is known today as Varanasi, Kashi, ancient name Kashi. This personality, Sri Kripalu, Ram Kripalu Tripathi, was invited by the Kashi Vidvat Parishad, which comprised at that time of a body of 500 of the greatest spiritual scholars, spiritual minds in India at that time. And he was invited to come and speak. Let us hear first what he knows, see what he knows, and then eventually they will have Shastrarth. He spoke for about 9 days in Sanskrit. At the end, this body had a meeting. Now we have invited him to come here. आप इनके साथ शास्त्रार्थ कौन करेंगे? We have invited him here with the purpose. Now, who is going to have this Shastra debate on the scripture with him? So the unanimous decision came among them, look, we can have Shastra debate on the scripture with someone who is a worldly person, who studied the scripture, etc., like us. But how can we have Shastra with a divine entity? They realized his divinity, that he was a divine descension. So for the first time in history, the title of Jagat Guru was bestowed without any Shastrarth. They thought, since we can't It's impossible to have this Shastrart, just give it to him. Bestow it upon him. Many titles were given. One of them, Bhakti Yoga Rasa Avatar. Bhakti Yoga Ras Avatar. Avatar means divine descension. They had recognized his was divine descension. And Bhakti Yoga Ras, the divine descension of divine love, bhakti, divine love, bliss. Bliss, ras means bliss, divine bliss. If we were to go deeper, we would see the word bhakti means Radha. Radha, Rani is bhakti personified, and the word ras means Shri Krishna. Raso vai sahara sagvam hevayam labdhva nandi bhavati. Taittiriya Upanishad, chapter 2, verse 7, the Vedas say, Shri Krishna is ras, bliss. And the word yog means to join. So the combined descension of Radha Krishna, combined, that divine descension, is called Bhakti Yoga Rasa Avatar. It's one of the titles was bestowed upon him. They recognize him to be the divine descension of Radha Krishna personified. Another title, Jagat Guru Tam. Not only Jagat Guru, but Jagat Guru Tam. So some people may be start thinking, he is supposed to be speaking Bhakti Shatak. Why is he telling us about Jagat Guru Tam Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu? So if we understand who is the person who wrote this book, it will give us an insight into what we are going to hear. First, we have to understand, if someone worldly person, anybody could write a book. If it's a worldly person, nobody gives any attention. Why do we worship book like Ramayana, Gita, Bhagavad Mahapuran, etc.? Because we understand who wrote these books. Who is the entity? Someone divine. So in the same way, understand a little bit. I'm just giving a brief introduction. Not going to go, it will take very long to explain and go into detail about this personality known as Jagat Guru Tam Shri Kripalu Mahaprabhu. Very brief. Anyway, so another title, Jagat Guru Tam, as I mentioned. So not only Jagat Guru, what does Jagat Guru Tam mean? Like in English, we have good, better, best. So also in Sanskrit, you have Jagat Guru, then Jagat Guru Tar means better, Jagat Guru Tam means best. That he is only the fifth, original Jagat Guru, and he is the best amongst the five. Shresht. Another title, Nikhil Darshan Samanvaya Acharya, the reconciler of all the philosophy, of all the Veda, all the scriptures, as well as all the saints. All the previous Jagat Gurus, Shankaracharya, Jagat Guru Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Nimbarkacharya, Madhavacharya, there were contradictions in their philosophy. They contradicted each other. He reconciled all these contradictions, not only of the saints but also the scriptures. So like this, many titles. As I mentioned, he wrote many, many books. Prem Ras Siddhant, the philosophy of divine love. Prem Ras Madira, which comprises of 1008 pads, divine compositions in poetry form, song form, Braj Madhuri, Radha Govind Geet comprising of 11,111 dohas, couplets, Shama Sham Geet comprising of 1,008 couplets, etc. Many books, Yugal, Shatak, etc. So in the same way, one of the books is written, very famous, Bhakti Shatak. The word Shatak means 100. So this book, Bhakti Shatak, contains 100 dohas. And in these 100 dohas, all the philosophy of all the Vedas, all the Puranas, Mahabharata, the Itihasas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, etc., Gita, all philosophy has been put into all in these 100 verses. Everything. From that, during these 8 days that I will be talking, speaking on Bhakti Shatak, I will be taking some of these verses. I'm not going to do 100. In one day we can sing 100 verses. It's very easy in a couple hours, but we won't get the benefit. So what I'll be doing, previously I'd already, maybe a few years ago, I had done a series on Bhakti Shatak right here at Yugal Kunj, Sri Yugal Kunj. So I'm not going to go back to those verses, I'll try to do some new ones. And there's no telling us how many verses I'll do each day. It will depend, all the verses are different, and how long it takes for me to explain, to give an explanation. So we can all benefit. Every verse is so important. It is filled, as you will see, with so much. So I'm starting with Doha 15 because previously I had done to Doha 40. So I'm starting with Doha 15. And we just sung this Doha. So the first line says, Sacho das na kab hu chaha, paach hu mukti balai. जो साचो दास है, जो असली दास है, ये कुछ ऐसे चीजों को नहीं चाहते हैं, कभी नहीं। और खास यहां बताया पांच मुक्ति होती है, 5 मुक्ति। वो कभी भी स्वप्न में भी वो नहीं चाहते हैं। So das, the word das means servant. By now we should all know that we are not the body. We identify with the body. This is called अज्ञान। हम अपने को भूल गए कि मैं कौन हूं। We have forgotten who we are. We have forgotten that we are the soul, the Atma. And we identify with the physical body. And because of that, we have been rotating in 8.4 million forms of life. From when? From beginningless time. अनादिकाल से भ्रमण करते हैं। आकर 4,84,000 योनि भ्रमट यह जीव अविनाशी। भगवान श्री राम is sent to the residents of Ayodhya. The Jeev, the individual soul who we are, Jivatma, is Avinashi. indestructible, eternal, Sanatan, beginningless. But it keeps rotating, Brahmat, it keeps rotating in 8.4 million forms of life. All because of that ignorance of identifying with the body. The Vedas warn us, Ihache dashakat bodhum prak sharirasya vissasaha tatha sargeshu lokeshu sharirattvaya kalpate. Kathopanishad 2-3-4. The Kathopanishad, the Vedas are saying, oh, hey, listen carefully. Immediately having acquired this human birth, very valuable human birth, which even devatas are praying for and cannot get, attain the aim, ultimate aim of life, of God realization. Otherwise, we'll have to keep rotating in the endless cycle of birth and death as ordained by divine law. For how long? Sargeshu. Sarg. The word sarg means kalp. How long is one kalp? One kalp is 12 hours of Brahma. Brahma, the creator, wo jo char mukh wale hai, the one who has 4 heads, the creator, Brahma. 12 hours of Brahma is known as one kalp. 4,294,080,000 years, our time. Asargeshu means plural. For many kalps, we keep rotating in that 8.4 million forms of life. Eventually, kabahuk kari karunanar dehi det isha binu hetu sanehi. Bhagwan, out of his causeless mercy, Bhagwan Shri Ram is saying to the residents of Ayodhya, the Supreme Lord, out of his causeless mercy, who loves, he loves us without any self-interest, eventually bestows upon us birth in the human form. Acha bhai, ek aur mauka de raha hu. Okay, I'm giving you one more chance. Only by His grace. Ab jao, अच्छे काम करो. Go now and do the right thing. That you don't have to keep rotating in an endless cycle of birth and death. This is a golden opportunity. But so this human body is so rare, but we are not the body. This body belongs to us. It's a material thing. Kshiti jal pavak gagana samira panch rachit yah adham sarira. This body is made of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air and space. It's a material thing. That's not who we are. It's very valuable. Even devatas are praying for it. Bare bhagya manusha tanu pava sur durlabh sadagrantha nigava. Bhagwan Shri Ram is saying to the residents of Ayodhya, it is the greatest fortune for the soul to acquire birth in the human form. Sur. Sur means Devata, celestial beings, those who live in heaven. Devata. They are begging and praying to get birth in the human form and they can't. Durlabham manusham janma prarthyate tirashairapi. Narad Puran. The Devatas are praying to Shri Krishna, Hey Shri Krishna, Aapse prarthna, we are praying, begging you, please give us birth in the human form. We do not want heaven, there is nothing here. So what? But it belongs to us. So we are the soul Atma. And the soul by nature, स्वभाव से ये भगवान के दास है, दास. By nature, the soul is servant of Shri Krishna. Jiver Swarup hoy Krishner Nitya Das. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gaurang Mahaprabhu says, the soul is an eternal servant of Shri Krishna. Nitya Das. And what does the servant do? Serves. वो सेवा चाहते हैं, सेवा. So a true das, a true servant, first does not want 5 mukti. There are 5 mukti. What is the 5 mukti? Salokya sarshti samipya sarupyaikattvamupyate mupyata diyamanam na grihnanti bina matsevanam janaha. Srimad Bhagavad Mahapuran, 3rd canto, 29th chapter, 13th verse. The Bhagavad says there are 5 mukti, 5 mukti. Salokya, Sarshti, Samipya, Sarupya, Ekatva or Sayujya. Salokya, the desire to have an abode like Shri Krishna. Actually, Mahavishnu, which is the form of Shri Krishna. To have an abode like Vaikuntha, the abode of Mahavishnu. Salokya. Sarshti, to have opulence like Mahavishnu, that form of Shri Krishna. Samipya, to be always close to the Lord, to be close to Him all the time. Sarupya, to have a form like the Lord. And Sayujya or Ekatva, to merge into the formless aspect of Shri Krishna. So 5 mukti, 4 belongs to Bhakt, devotee, those who worship the Lord, and 1 belongs to the Jnani. Ekatva, Sayujya Mukti. Out of the 5, the Ekatva Mukti, Sayujya is the most dangerous one. सबसे खतरनाक है ये सायुज्य मुक्ति. First to begin. So, these, as I mentioned, 4. Salokya, Sarshti, Samipya, Sarupya. These belong to Bhakt. Those who are worshipping Shri Krishna, they worship the form of Shri Krishna known as Mahavishnu, the yogis, etc. This is not true Bhakt. They also attain. The desire is to attain these 4 mukti. To have an abode like Mahavishnu, like Vaikuntha. to have opulences like Mahavishnu, Sarshti, to be close to him all the time, Samipya, and to have a form, Char Bhuja with 4 arms, etc. They attain it like that. But a devotee doesn't want that. A true devotee. ये नहीं चाहते हैं. Even though this is the form of Sri Krishna, the true devotee keeps very far away. This is more the yogis. They worship Shant Bhav. There are 4 bhavs relation we make with Sri Krishna in doing bhakti. Shant Bhav, Dasya Bhav, Sakhya Bhav, Vatsalya Bhav, Madhurya Bhav. So the true Das, the true Bhakt, they reject Shant Bhav. The Shant Bhav, this is a relation between a subject and a king. As I mentioned, the yogis, they worship this Mahavishnu in this form. There's too much distance. A subject hardly gets a chance to even speak or see the king. They'll stay from a distance. Mahavishnu is always serious, Gambhir, doesn't even smile. So they worship in the Shant. The true Rasik saints, they discard, reject Shant Bhav. They accept only this 4. Dasya Bhav, Sakhya Bhav, Vatsalya Bhav, Madhurya Bhav. Dasya Bhav, relation of Das, servant, and master. I am a servant, Shri Krishna is my Swami, master. वो मेरे स्वामी है, मैं दास हूँ. Higher than that, Sakhya Bhav, the relation of friendship. Shri Krishna hamare sakha hai. He is my sakha, my friend. Like the cowherd boys of Vrindavan. Like Sugriv, Vibhishan, etc. also. So Sakhya Bhav. Higher than that, Vatsalya Bhav. Love in Shri Krishna, love in the Lord as a parent loves a child, parental love. Like Nanda Baba, Yashoda Maiya, Devaki, Vasudev, Kaushilya, Dashrath, etc. And the highest relation, Madhurya Bhava. Love a beloved relation. The gopis of Vrindavan, the highest. This is what we have to aim for. So, when we're talking about the true Das, we're talking about those who love in the Madhurya Bhava, the highest relation. So this 4 doesn't want. And as I mentioned, the 5th is the most dangerous. This 5th mukti is called a pisachini, churail. Bhukti mukti sprihayavat pishachi hridhi vartate tavat bhakti kasyata katamabhyudayo bhaved. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Rup Goswami says, he calls bhukti and mukti pishachini, churail, demons, witches. Bhukti means desire for the material world plus desire for heaven, the pleasures of heaven. These two combined is called bhukti. And mukti, what is known as liberation in English, to merge into the formless aspect of Sri Krishna. All mukti is dangerous, but this mukti is the most dangerous one. It is even more dangerous than bhukti. Why? If someone desires bhukti, worldly and heavenly pleasures, we have been doing that from beginningless time. Identifying with the physical body, haven't forgotten that we are the soul, the Atma. We have been looking for happiness where it cannot be found, in the material world. Dhyayato vishayan punsa sangasteshu upajayate. Chapter 2, verse 62, Gita. Decision in the mind, I will find happiness in the world, in some material object, material person. Shri Krishna says in Gita, when we keep thinking again and again, this person, this thing will make me happy, we get attached, we get addicted. It can be alcohol, it can be cigarette, it can be weed, it can be coke, it can be a boy, it can be a girl, anything. The decision in the mind, the thing, thinking again and again, बार बार सोचते हैं, इसको मिलने से, इससे मिलने से सुख मिलेगा. If I get this boy, if I get this girl, if I drink some alcohol, if I smoke a weed, if I smoke cigarette, I'll get happy. This is how people get addicted to coffee, to cigarette, to alcohol, chai. Some boys see a girl see a boy, I fell in love. Nobody falls in love. I just fell in love. Nobody falls in love. You fall in love and then you fall out of love. It's a decision. Because we want happiness. ये हमारा स्वभाव है. It's our nature to want happiness. Why? Because we are fraction, we are part of happiness. Mamaevansho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana. Chapter 15, verse 7, Gita. Shri Krishna says the Jivatma, the individual soul, is an eternal fraction, part of him. Sanatan, eternal. And it's a natural, ये स्वाभाविक नियम है कि सब अंश अपने अंशी से स्वाभाविक प्रेम प्यार है, उसको मिलना चाहते हैं. It's a natural law that every part, every fraction has a natural love for the whole and wants to become one with it. So being eternal parts, fraction of Shri Krishna, we love and want only Shri Krishna. Loke nahisa vidyeta yonarama manubrataha. Valmiki Ramayana. Valmiki ji, the great Saint Valmiki ji says, it is impossible to find an individual soul that does not truly love and want only God, Bhagavan. Impossible. Asako jiva jantu jagmahi jehi raghunath prana priyanahi. Tulsidas also says in the Tulsi Ramayana, he mentions both animate as well as inanimate beings. And he says that to all of them, Sri Ram, God, is as dear as life. That we naturally love and want only God, only Shri Krishna. And who is Shri Krishna? What is Shri Krishna? I mentioned before, in the Vedas, Raso vai sahar sagvam hevayam labdhva nandi bhavati. Taittiriya Upanishad chapter 2 verse 7, the Vedas say, Shri Krishna is ras, bliss. Ras means bliss, happiness. Anando brahmeti vijanat ananda deva khalvimani bhutani jayante anandena jatani jivanti anandam prayantyabhisam vishanti. Taittiriya Upanishad chapter 3 verse 6. The Veda says Shri Krishna is Ananda, bliss, happiness. So, since we, the Jivatma, the individual souls, are eternal parts, fractions of Shri Krishna, it means we love and want only Shri Krishna. And because Shri Krishna is happiness, that's why we all want only happiness. Sukh, Anand. But because of that ignorance of identifying with the physical body, from beginningless time we have been looking. Don't they? Not that we haven't been looking, we have been searching and looking. Every action we perform. It is impossible to remain inactive even for a moment. We are performing actions every moment, every moment. But every action we perform, no matter how contradictory and opposing it may seem to be, is for one thing only: Sukh, Ananda, happiness. It can be the best action, it can be the worst action, the most evil action. Only for happiness. But we have been looking in the wrong place. That's why we haven't found it. If somehow someone can convince us, it's very difficult. Uncountable lifetimes, this decision has become so firm in the mind. ये दृढ़ निश्चय हो गया मन में. हाँ, सुख चाहते हैं, लेकिन वो सुख संसार में मिलेगा. Yes, I want happiness, but that happiness I'll find in the world. A new house, a new car, big bank balance, handsome boy, beautiful girl, a cute doggy, all kinds of things. I will find it. If I don't find it today, I'll find it tomorrow, but I will find it. That decision has become so firm. ये इतना दृढ़ हो गया, so firm in the mind. Remember, anadikal se, from beginningless time, that decision has been so embedded in the mind. So for the worldly soul to change the decision in the mind, अब ये जो निश्चय हमने किया मन में, जो इतना दृढ़ हो गया, इसको बदलना कि ये संसार में सुख है ही नहीं, ये असंभव है. To change the decision in the mind for us, the worldly souls, to make a decision in the mind that there is no happiness to be found in any person or object in the world, is impossible. We cannot do it by ourselves. For that to happen, we have to go to Guru. जो असली गुरु है, asli sant, a true saint, we have to go to the true Guru, one who has attained that divine happiness himself. Shri Krishna says in Gita, Tad viripranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshani te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Chapter 4 verse 34 Gita. So here Shri Krishna is defining who is the guru we have to go to in order to get that divine knowledge, in order to change the decision of the mind. Kiske paas jana hai? So Shri Krishna is telling us here in the Gita, in order for us to change the decision in the mind, to bring that firm decision, to change a decision that there is no happiness to be found in any person, object in the world, that happiness we are looking for, we'll find only in Shri Krishna. We have to go to this Guru. What Guru? Jnaninaha, number one, plus Tattvadarshinaha. Two conditions. ये दो शर्त है. This kind of Guru. Number one, Jnaninaha means he has complete knowledge. Complete knowledge of all the Vedas, all the scriptures. Complete knowledge, very important, so he can remove the doubt, he can convince us. But even more important, he is Tattvadarshinaha, meaning he has attained that divine bliss, divine happiness. He has seen Tattvadarshinaha, he has seen Shri Krishna. He has attained Shri Krishna. If we are so fortunate to find such a Guru, what do? Tadviri pranipatena. First thing, completely surrender to him. Pranipatena. Surrender the mind, the intellect. Your buddhi ko samarpit. Pariprashnena. Acquire the true knowledge by asking him questions, etc. And number three, sevaya. Do his seva, serve him, knowing him to be Shri Krishna personified. He will give us, he will make that decision change. He will just be in his association, the knowledge will come. This is why in the Ramayana it says, Binu sat sang vivekan hoi, Ram kripa binu sulabhan soi. Without the association of a true saint, the true Guru, we will not acquire true knowledge. That decision will not come in the mind, in the intellect of who am I, of where will I find true happiness, etc. That knowledge, the true, when we associate, this is a real satsang, when you associate with a true Guru. But for that to happen, Ram Kripa, God will have to shower His grace. When will He shower His grace? Punya punja binu milahi na santa, sat sangati sanshriti kar anta. Bhagwan Shri Ram says to the residents of Ayodhya, after we have performed great spiritual deeds in many lifetimes. Punya means spiritual deeds, devotional actions. And it has become punj. Punj means a huge, big amount, a big storehouse of many, many lifetimes. Then Bhagwan showers His grace, and we meet the Santa, the saint, the true Guru. Or Satasangati Sanshriti Kara Anta. And just by associating with that saint, our attachment to the material world will be destroyed. That decision will come in the mind. Very clear in the mind, very clear in the scripture. This cannot be done by ourselves. This abhiman that we have, I don't need anybody. I will just read the Gita, read Bhagavad, I can read the scripture and get the knowledge myself. This is a abhiman. Uncountable lifetime we have been doing that. इसलिए आगे नहीं जाते. That's why we don't go, we have not progressed further. We keep rotating in 8.4 million forms of life because of that abhiman. I don't need anyone. मैं गुरु वुरु से कुछ मतलब ही नहीं, मैं किसी को नहीं गुरु नहीं बनाऊंगा. I'm not going to make anyone guru. I don't need guru. This kind of abhiman, false pride, ego. Without guru, nothing is possible, but has to be the true guru. So, this 5 mukti. So, as I mentioned, the 5th one, ekatva sayujya, is the most dangerous. If someone desires material and heavenly pleasures, as we have been doing from uncountable lifetimes, thinking we'll find happiness, we will keep rotating in 8.4 million forms of life, as we have been doing. Akar 4,84,000 yoni brahmat yah jiva avinasi, as Sri Ram says. We keep rotating in 8.4 million forms of life, all because we keep looking for happiness in the material one. So we'll keep doing that. Eventually we'll get birth in the human form by God's grace. And if when we get birth in the human form, we happen to meet a true Rasik saint, a true Guru, like Shri Krishna is saying in Gita, and we believe in him, and we take shelter, we make him Guru. We do Agya Palan, we follow his instruction. Oh, he's my Guru, but I don't do what he tells me. No. The Guru, वो Guru है ही नहीं. किसी को गुरु बनाते हैं और आज्ञा पालन नहीं करते तो वो गुरु कहाँ के? We make someone Guru, but we do not follow what he tells us, then why is he Guru? क्यों बनाया? Why do we make him Guru? He is only Guru because we have the decision that I do not know. मैं नहीं जानता. I don't know what's good for me. He alone knows. So follow his instruction. We believe in him, we follow his instruction, we will attain that bhakti, divine love. We will attain Shri Krishna. But if we desire mukti and indeed attain it, we'll never attain bhakti ever again. Bhagwan Shri Ram says to Kag Basundi ji, Kag Basundi manguvar ati prasanna mohi jaan animadik siddhi apar nidhi moksha sakal sukh khan. Hey Kag Basundi ji, you are so dear to me. You are my great devotee. I am extremely pleased with you. Ati prasanna. Extremely pleased. I will give you anything you desire. Please ask me for anything you want. Kag Basundi ji says, Maharaj, I don't want anything. I have you, what do I want? And besides, kya denge? What are you going to give? So Bhagwan says, okay, great things I'm going to give. Anima dik siddhi, I'm going to give siddhis. Anima, lakhima, garima, ashta siddhi, navanidhi. We think this is great thing. People hear siddhis and they get woo. Power to perform miracles. One can become so light, like a feather, or so heavy that hundreds of people won't be able to lift him. Can fly in the sky, walk on water, remain buried under the earth for hundreds of years. He can enter into the mind and know exactly what you are thinking, etc. People have acquired this, they can. But it's very dangerous. Very dangerous. So I'll give you siddhis. I will give you nidhis, great treasures, and moksha, the best of attainment. Moksha sakal sukha khan. Aisa bewakoof bana rahe. Bhagwan is on the one hand, he says, you're my best devotee, and I'm extremely pleased with you, but I'm going to make a fool out of you. Hey Bhagwan, apne bade bhakt, sabse special bhakt ko bewakoof banana. Ab aise Bhagwan. He wants to make his best devotee, that the one he's supremely pleased with, the biggest fool. Because there's no happiness in moksha. No happiness? What do you mean no happiness in moksha? There's nothing in Brahmanand. Brahmanand mein anant sukha hai. There's infinite happiness in Brahmanand, in the happiness of the formless absolute Brahman. But what happens? What experiences happiness and sorrow? The mind. The soul, the Atma is a non-doer. Akarta hai. So the one who is aiming for moksha, liberation, to merge into the formless aspect of Bhagavan, destroys the mind. That jnani, he destroys the mind. The one that is experiencing. And the soul, the Atma, which is a non-doer, merges and becomes one with the formless absolute Brahman. There's infinite happiness in Brahmanand, but there's no one to experience. The mind has been destroyed. So yes, there's infinite happiness, but you experience nothing. It's like deep sleep. We get a taste of it. That's why we love to sleep so much. When you go to sleep, you twist and turn in the bed, then you have dream. Swapna dekhte hai. Acha swap, sometimes very nice dreams. You're visiting the best place, eating the best thing, and sometimes you get nightmare also. The sapna. And then there's a point that you don't even dream. It's called Shushupti Avastha. Shushupti Avastha. You don't even dream. That is the greatest happiness. We get a taste of the bliss of the formless absolute Brahman. But you actually experience nothing. The reason why we think I found so much happiness, because you experience neither happiness nor sorrow in deep sleep. Sukha maham aswapsam na kinchit dham avedisham. In other words, I experience neither happiness nor sorrow. I experience nothing. So the state, this is what the jnani experiences. Neither happiness nor sorrow. This is why there was a great saint known as Ramakrishna Paramhans. He used to say, I do not want to become the chini, sugar. I don't want to become, I want to eat the sugar. Sugar is sweet, but sugar cannot taste its own sweetness. It is the one who eats the sugar who tastes the sweetness of the sugar. If you become sugar, you cannot taste the sweetness. So I do not want to become one with the formless absolute Brahman. A devotee doesn't want to become, he will never say Shivoham, Shivoham, Aham Brahmasmi. A devotee says, Dasoham, Dasoham. I am a servant of Sri Krishna, my dasu. That is the one who's going to taste the bliss of Sri Krishna forever. Anyhow, so this is because once one attains mukti, merges into the formless absolute Brahm, you're finished forever. You will never be able to come back in this world and do bhakti. That's the end. So he doesn't want the 5 mukti. Chahi yugal seva sada. What does he want? He wants to do seva. Seva. A das hai. मैं दास हूँ. तो दास क्या चाहते हैं? सेवा. I want seva. I want to do seva. I want to serve who? Radha Krishna. Yugal. Yugal seva. Radha Krishna. Sitaram. I want to do seva. Aur tin sukha sukhi sadai. What kind of seva? To be happiness in the happiness of the beloved. Unke sukh mein sukhi. Tat sukha sukhitvam. Narad Bhakti Sutra. Naradji defines bhakti or love as being happy in the happiness of the beloved. A true das, a true servant does not think about his own happiness. He only thinks about the happiness of the beloved. वो सेवा चाहते हैं. अब देखो, if we understand, we are doing bhakti. ये bhakti shabd, this bhakti, the word bhakti, what does it mean? To understand what a word means, in Sanskrit, you look at the root word. Dhatu, the root word. So the root of the word bhakti is bhaj in Sanskrit. Bhaj. What does bhaj means? Bhaj means seva. Bhaj ka matlab seva karna. Bhaj dhatu sevayam. So bhaj means to do seva, to serve. Kiski seva? Who seva? We can serve. We do service in the world also. People work for the government. You work for your boss. Husband serves wife. Wife serves husband. Children serve parent. Parents serve children. You serve the dog. You serve your cat. You serve the parrot. All that is service. Is all that bhakti? Is that seva? No. Param prema rupa. Naradji defines bhakti as a supreme and immortal love for God. Parama prema rupa. Sa paran raktirishware. Sandilya Sutra. Sandilya Muni, he defines bhakti as an intense longing and yearning for God. Look, a lot of people say, I do bhakti, I'm doing bhakti. They do puja, they do havan, they come to mandir, they do arti for Bhagwan, Sitaram, arti for Radha Krishna, for Shiv, for Durga, we do puja. Why? Why are we doing it? Hey Bhagwan, the job, I don't have a good job, please help me get a job. I want to get a nice motor car, I want to win the lotto, I want to get a handsome boy to get married, a beautiful girl to get married. In other words, majority of people whom we see praying, and not only Hindus, they can be Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jain, Buddhist, 99.99% who are praying, they're going to church, to masjid, Gurudwara, masjid, wherever they are going. They are praying to God for the world. Because as I mentioned, the conviction is there, I will get happiness in the world. Very few pray to God with the feeling that I want you, Bhagwan. And this can only happen when the decision comes in the mind that the happiness I'm looking for, I will find only in Shri Krishna, only in Bhagwan. Then I want you, Bhagwan. We have been, as I said, we have been looking again and again in the world, and that's why we keep rotating. Shri Krishna says to Uddhav in Bhagavad Mahapuran, Vishayandhyataschitam vishayeshu visajjate mamanusmarataschitam mayyeva praviliyate. Bhagavad Mahapuran, 11th canto, 14th chapter, 27th verse. Just, Shri Krishna said to Uddhav, just as the decision in the mind of the worldly soul that I will find happiness in the world, in some person or object, and we keep thinking again and again, we get attached, we fall in love, and we will attain that. Wherever the mind is attached, when we die, we will attain that. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamevati kaunte sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Chapter 8, verse 6, Gita. Shri Krishna says, Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram. Kalevar means the body. Tyajatyante kalevaram. When we leave the body, in other words, when we die, whatever we remember, yam yam vapi smaran. Smaran means remember. Whatever we remember at that time. उस समय जिस व्यक्ति जिस चीज के स्मरण करते हैं, whatever you remember at that time, that's what you're going to attain, what you're going to become in the next life. So because we get attached in the material world, because of that ignorance of identifying with the body, we keep looking for happiness in the world, we get attached in the world, and that's why we keep rotating in 8.4 million forms of life from beginningless time. In the same way, Shri Krishna says, if somehow the decision can come in the mind, as I told you, this can only happen when we go to the true Guru. When we go to a true saint, a true Guru, we associate in the right way, and that knowledge comes that I am not the body, I am the soul, the Atma, and the happiness I'm looking for I'll find only in Shri Krishna. Then I start, just like in the world, I think I'll get happiness in some person or object. I think about it again and again, again and again. I get attached. I get addicted. Nobody is born a chain smoker. Nobody is born an alcoholic, etc. That constant reflection, decision, again and again in the mind. I will get happiness in this thing, in this person, this object. In the same way, if that decision comes in the mind, first the knowledge I am the soul, the Atma, number one. Number two, the happiness, I want only happiness. Because I'm a fraction of happiness. And the only way I'll attain that happiness is attaining Shri Krishna. So now what do? I start thinking about Shri Krishna again and again. I do Roop Dhyan, Sadhana. What will happen? I'll get attached to Shri Krishna. What you're going to remember at the time that you are leaving the body, whatever you're attached to, whatever you are in love with. What you're going to remember? Where you're attached. So if I'm attached to the world, I'll remember the world. If I'm attached to Shri Krishna, to the saint who is Shri Krishna personified, I'll remember Shri Krishna. I'll remember the saint. And that's what Shri Krishna tells us in the Gita. Antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nasyati sanshayah. Chapter 8, verse 5, Gita. Antakale chamameva. At the last moment, when we leave, when the life leaves the body, antakale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram. When the life leaves the body, we remember Shri Krishna. So you remember me. You remember Bhagavan, Shri Krishna. Because we are attached, we have fallen in love with Shri Krishna. That's the only way we will remember him. Then you will certainly go to Shri Krishna. There's no doubt about that. So thinking again and again. But to be, so that this is what you want. You want to get the seva. Bhakti means seva, the seva of Shri Krishna, to serve Radha Krishna, to serve the ones who are Radha Krishna personified. Remember the verse I told you from Bhagavad? Salokya sarthi samipya sarupyaikat tvamapyuta diyamanam na grihnanti bina matsevanam janaha. 3rd Canto 29, chapter 13th verse. These 5, the Bhagavad is saying, these 5 mukti I don't want. A devotee doesn't want. Diyamanam na grihnanti. Even if you give it, I don't want it. Diyamanam na grihnanti. Bina mat sevanam. All I want is the seva of Janaha. The true devotees, the true lovers of Radha Krishna. In other words, the saints, to serve the true Guru, the saint, to get seva. That's all I want. By serving the saint, we are serving Radha Krishna. Yasya deve prabhakti yatha deve tatha gurau tasyate katitha hyarta prakashante mahatmanaha. Shvetashvataro Upanishad chapter 6 verse 23. Ved is telling us, Ved is saying, we have to worship and love the Guru, who is Radha Krishna personified, the true Guru, and worship him just like we worship Radha Krishna. Then we will attain the divine knowledge of Radha Krishna, we'll attain the seva, we'll attain everything. This is the diktam, this is the challenge of the Vedas, that we have to worship Guru, the true Guru, of course, who is Radha Krishna personified, in the same way. Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha gurau. In the same way as we would love Radha Krishna. And, of course, tina sukha sukhi sadai. It has to be selfless, to be happy in the happiness of the beloved. There's much more. See, I told you, just doing one doha tonight, it took the whole time. Someone was asking me, Bhaiya, are you going to do 10 doha tonight? I don't know how long it's going to take to explain even one doha. It took the whole time for me to explain one doha. So much. All the dohas not like that. Some doha I can do in a few minutes. Right? But not all of them. And this I don't even think I've finished. But I'll leave this one here for now. So we have completed doha number 15. We will go on from there to 16, etc. from tomorrow night. Bole Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Syavar Ramchandra ki jai. Pavan Sutta Hanuman ki jai. Srimad Sadguru Sarkar ki jai. Shri Yugal Kunj ki jai. Shri Bhakti Dham ki jai. Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai